Hello students, we are back again. We are there on second unit, that is self-management skills, and in that we are there on first session, that is stress management. This is the second part of this session. In the first part video we discussed about the stress and the techniques through which the stress can be relieved. So in this session we will discuss about the students, what are the reasons which causes stress in students, and we will discuss the methods to get rid of this stress in students. The very first method is through physical exercise. See, if a person wants to get rid from the stress which he is having, the simplest thing he can do is he can do exercise. See what happens that when a person does exercise, his brain concentrates on the movement of the body. His brain works on the exercise, focuses on the exercise, and when the brain focuses on the exercise, certainly there will be a distraction from the topics which he is or she is thinking, which is giving him or her the trouble. Trouble means increasing the stress level. See, if you are thinking a particular topic and you need to get rid of the topic, certainly you need a second topic on which you can focus so that you can get distracted from the very first topic which is annoying you, which is creating the stress. So the very simple thing is exercise. The person can perform exercise. If he does so, what happens? The body releases a chemical. That chemical is endomorphin. So this endomorphin is a chemical which gives relaxation to the brain. So when a person does exercise, endomorphin is released, the brain gets relaxed, and the brain feels good. This is one thing. The second thing is during exercise, the mind focuses on the exercise, the movement of the body, the postures of the body, and there is a distraction from the topic which was giving him or which was increasing the level of stress. So this is one thing which a person can do if a person wants to get rid of stress, the bad stress. Second thing which a person can do is the person can opt for some sports. See, sports is a very good method of getting rid of stress. If a person is stressed out, he is in a bad mood, he is there in a bad stress situation which is causing him a number of problems, he can opt for some sports. See what happens that when he will opt for sport, he will be able to meet a number of more persons. Some persons will be there in his team, some will be opponents. So certainly he'll be having some chatting and talking with all. When this thing happens, certainly again the same thing will happen. He will be distracted from the topic which was giving him the problem, which was increasing the level of stress. He will be having his teammates, so he will be having conversation with the teammates regarding the sport which he is playing. And when that person does so, certainly the level of stress will be reduced. When he will be playing, again the same thing will happen. The body will release again the same chemical endomorphin, and the stress level will be decreased. He will not feel the stress which he was having. See, you must have observed, you all have played, you used to play a number of sports, and when you play sports you forget about the tensions which you have. I don't think anybody goes to play sports with thought of your examination, with thought of your books, with thought of your copies? I don't think so. Nobody goes there with books and copies. When you go in the ground, you simply focus on the sport, you focus on how to play and how to win. So that thing certainly reduces the level of stress. The person meets his teammates, he share his thoughts, he share his feeling, and certainly level of the stress, and the stress goes off. There is one more thing which a person can do, and that thing is he can opt for yoga. See, yoga is a very good method of bringing mind and soul together. A number of asanas are there. One more thing can be done, and that thing is meditation. Again, the same thing, meditation simply will bring his mind and soul and body together as a one unit, and in that duration of time, the stress will not be felt, and the level of stress can be controlled. See, meditation can be a simple task, can be a very simple thing. A person sits, relaxes, closes his eyes, thinks about only and only himself, nothing else. So it will certainly help the person to reduce the level of stress which he is or she is currently having. A simple thing can also be done if a person feels that he is there in a situation of bad stress, and that simple thing is he can take break from his work. If it is a student, the student can leave his books and copies for some time, for some days, he can relax. If a person is a businessman, he owns a shop, he can stay back home. If he goes in office, he can stay back home. If a person is there who works, who feels that he is stressed out, that person can sit back at home, he can relax, he can give time to himself with his family. Certainly, when this method is applied, he will feel more relaxed. See, say for example, a person is there who has a shop, and due to some reasons his sales has decreased. So when he goes in shop daily, the same thing happens. No customers are there, no money is coming. So what he can do is he can sit back home. So when he will sit back home for 2 3 days or 4 days or a week, he will be having some talking with his family members. He will not be thinking about the shop, whether somebody is coming or not coming, sales are there or not. So this may certainly help to a certain. So when the person gets these kinds of feelings, when he views these things, when he sees these things, the natural beauty, at that moment only he thinks of only that thing. The brain relaxes, the mind relaxes, and the body also get relaxed. And when this thing happens, the level of stress is released, is decreased. And apart from these, if a person is having some more freedom, what he can do is he can go on some vacations, he can go on some holidays to a place where he likes to. If a person lives in a hot place, he can go to a colder place. If a person lives in a cold place, he can go to a hotter place. So he can take his friends, he can take his family, even he can go all alone, depends on the person. But the major thing is going on vacations or going on holidays will also help the person in reducing the tension or the stress. See what will happen, you only might have felt and observed before some years, this is pandemic, nobody used to go at any places. But before this pandemic, people used to go on summer vacations. We all used to go on summer vacations to a number of destinations. And when you go to all those number of destinations, you certainly do not go with your books and copies. You certainly do not go with your school bags. You do not study there. What you do, you simply roam here and there to all those beautiful sights and sceneries, buildings, monuments. You watch all those things, and when you do so, you get a good feeling, and that good feeling helps to reduce the tension. You are having examination, but you are there in a vacation, so you will not feel about the examination. You will be enjoying the trip on which you are going. So the same thing will happen to a person. If a person is stressed out, he feels very much stress, what he can do is he can go on a vacation, he can opt out for a holiday, he can go to any destination, he can go to any place where he feels so. When he will go there, he'll be having a number of places where he will be visiting a number of monuments, sculptures, places, parks, destinations. He will be going, he'll be having a timetable from morning to evening. So he will be having no time to think about that topic or that situation which was giving him the stress. So certainly when this thing happens, the person will become happy, the mood of the person will change, it will become good, and the level of stress will be reduced, will become very much. It can go down to that much extent where the level of stress, the very first factor which increases the stress is social factor. See, what happens that a student has to balance his or her social life also, and the student life also. And sometimes it happens that it becomes very difficult to balance the school life or the academic life with the social life. Sometimes it happens that you have to work very hard in order to show yourself that you are a very good student in your social life, and that increases the pressure on you. Your relatives are there, friends are there, your family members, friends are there, and some students may be there who will try to show that they are more talented, they are having more knowledge, they are best in studies, and out of those reasons they may increase their pressure, they may increase their stress, they may not be able to balance properly. So that may certainly increase their level of stress, and that will certainly be a negative impact. Sometimes it may happen that they may face problems in their school or in their colleges because of bullying, because of leg pullings in their class or in their school, and that may also sometimes increase their level of stress. You only think that some student, any student is here, and whenever he comes in the class, everybody or few, they target him or her, they call him by different funny nicknames, they bully him. So you may feel that what may go in his or her brain, that may certainly increase the level of stress, that students will not be able to balance properly himself or herself in that scenario. So this is the very first factor which a student may have, which may increase the level of stress. The second factor is academic factor. See, this is quite very simple factor for most of the students, which increases the level of stress, and that becomes a bad stress. So academic pressure means like completing the course on time, due dates are there for assignments, due dates are there for projects, and the student has to complete that work. He has a time limit for particular work, and he is not able to balance the time, manage the time properly. So that may certainly increase the level of stress. He may feel or she may feel that the work which he is having, the work which is pending, is going on more and more. See, you can simply see that whenever summer vacation comes up, in that summer vacation a number of tasks are given to the students, and if somehow some student is not able to complete that work in the set given time, and when he feels that the date is coming when the school will reopen and when he has to submit those assignments or work, and when he calculates, he feels that he will not be able to do that, so that certainly will increase the level of stress, and that will create problem for him or her. Apart from these two factors, a number of more factors are there which may increase the stress level. The other factor may be communication problem. A number of persons are there, a number of students are there who are very good in communication. They can communicate with their classmates, they can communicate with their friends, they can communicate with teachers very easily. But some are there who lack in this thing. They do not have a proper or a well defined communication skill. They are not good in communicating. Still they may be good person, but they do not have good communication skill. They are not able to communicate. They have something in their mind which they want to express, but they are not able to express that. So certainly this will create problem for that particular student, and that may certainly increase the level of stress. One more thing can be there, and that is the family, the friends. It happens that a student is there and everybody wants that that student should be a brilliant student, he should score more in the examination. So the expectation of others may increase the level of the student. It may be parent, it may be their friends, it may be their family members, anybody can be there. They may expect that in this examination he may secure more than 90% or more than 98%, or he may come first. And these expectations will certainly increase the level of stress in a particular student. The student is not that much capable of doing the thing which a person is expecting from him or her, and when that student tries to manage the level, tries to reach the expectation, and that certainly increases his tension, increases his pressure, and increases his stress. So we can see that apart from these a number of more things are there. Say for example, a student, when he sees other students, they are wearing good clothes, some are having laptops, some are having cell phones, very expensive cell phones. So those things may also increase the level of. So if problems are there, solutions are also there. So if a student feels that he is stressed out, the level of stress is more than required, he can do a number of things to manage the stress, to decrease the level of stress. The very first thing which a student can do is a simple thing: time management. See, for examination also, time management is required. If assignments are given, time management is required. Means a student has to manage the time, that at what time which work should be done, how much time he or she has to give on a particular task or on a particular work. If a student does this time management, certainly the workload will not come to him or her. Suppose a task is assigned to him or her, a big task is there, a project is there. What he or she can do is that student can break that task into a number of parts, and he can do those tasks in smaller parts, and he can manage the time that at which time he will work on which particular part. So in this way he will make his work lot more easier also, and the student will be able to complete the work on time. So time management is required if he or she is preparing for examination. At that time also time management is required. He needs to make a timetable which he or she can follow in order to prepare the timetable. If he do not prepare a timetable for that, certainly he will be nowhere to complete the revision work as to prepare for the examination. He will not be able to configure that when to prepare which thing, how much he has prepared, how much more he has to prepare. So he will be lost somewhere in his books and copies. The same thing happen with assignments also, projects also. He will never be able to guess what more time he needs to require in order to complete the task. So a student has to manage the time. He has to make time slots for different kinds of work, different kinds of activities, and that management of time will help him to complete his task in time and also properly. And when he does so, certainly I don't think stress will come on the student. See, like we discussed last time, that physical exercise is required. So for a student also physical exercise is required. Not rigorous exercise, means some simple exercises can be done for 15-20 minutes or 10 minutes. And you all know now कि when exercises are done, the body releases a chemical endomorphin, and this is a good chemical. It releases the pressure from the brain. It gives a good feeling in the brain, and that good feeling certainly releases the pressure, releases the tension from the body. So exercise is required. And for exercise also, it is not like that ki you can do at any time. You fix a particular time. A student can fix a particular time, that in the morning or in evening, at that time. So for this also the student can make a particular time slot, that in this time slot only for 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes he will be doing exercise. And certainly when a student will do exercise, he will focus more on the movement of his body on the exercise, and he will forget about the tension which he is or she is having. So at a time this exercise will certainly help him or her to release the tension, to decrease the level of stress. Um, One more thing a student can do in order to release the stress. See, for a student, stress comes up in a number of ways, like completing the assignments, completing the project work, completing the copy work, revision work, preparing for examination. So all these are different tasks. So what a student can do is, a student can opt for going step by step. A big task is there, a big problem is there, a big project is there. So he can or she can do all these tasks, he can complete all those tasks step by step. Step by step here also means that making the management in those project, dividing the project into a number of part, and making slots, that which work can be done first, which work can be done second, and which work can be done at last. So for this, student has to make a proper plan, a assignment, a task, a preparation for examination. All these things are there in a student's life. So a student has to make a plan. That plan will increase, will have the time, how much time he will be giving to which particular part of the task, which part should be done first, which part should be done last. So a step by step plan should be there. A student can make a step by step plan for completing a task, means breaking the task into a smaller parts and then completing all those smaller parts one by one, step by step. And when a student does so, certainly the task will be completed smoothly. See, you only think that a big task is there and a project is given to you and you need to complete the project. So it is not like that ki you sit at one time and in that one sitting only you can complete the project. It's not quite possible to complete in one sitting a particular project. A topic is given to you, so you will make a particular plan, like to break that big topic into smaller topics, and then on those smaller topics you will be collecting information and you will be compiling informations differently for all those different parts. And when you will collect all the information for those smaller parts, you will combine all those together to create the project, and finally your project will be completed. So the same thing can be done in almost all the types of tasks which a student can get, breaking the bigger task into smaller parts and completing it step by step. So this is quite a simple method to get rid of the tension, and this will certainly release the stress level in a student. One more thing he could do, and that thing is he can take some break. He can relax for some time. Uh, See, it is not that if a student is there, he or she has to study throughout the time. He or she has to study rigorously every time in their student life. No, he has to take or she has to take some break from the studies. He has or she has to give some time to himself or herself. Family members are there, friends are there, they can sit with their family members, they can have fun with their family members, they can go around with their friends, they can move out with friends in parks or anywhere, means they can come to your home, you can go to their home, you can take some break, you can make some good mood for yourself, and that when you do so, certainly the stress will go off. See, you might have felt this thing in your life that when a friend comes up to your home or when you go to your friend home, you feel relaxed because you talk on the topics which is not related to your studies, not related to your books and copies. You you used to have fun, you play, you talk some interesting thing. A number of things are there which you discuss that changes the mood when you're there with the family members. You sit together, you watch movies, you crack jokes. A number of activities are there which you do, and certainly when you do these things, the stress will be released, the stress will go off, you will be free of stress. So certainly students have to take some free time, they have to take some break in order to release the stress, release the pressure which they are having. So certainly this thing has to be done. A student cannot sit all the time with their books and copies, because if a student does so, certainly he will be pressurized, he will not be able to focus properly. See, you sit for 4 hours, 5 hours with the books and copies. I don't think that 4 or 5, after sitting for 4 and 5 hours, you can sit again for 4 5 hours for studying. No, you need a break. So certainly students require a break if he or she wants to release the pressure, if he or she wants to get rid of the tension or the stress which he or she is having. See, all the students are not of same type, they do not have same brain, they do not work in the same style. So if you have a challenging work, if you have a task assigned to you and you need to complete that task in the given stipulated time, it is not every time that you follow the same pattern of doing the work. You can act smartly, you can try for some other methods also, you can use a different type, a different pattern to complete the task before the time, and certainly that will help to reduce the time. Say for example, a task is given, assignment is given, some questions are given to you, some project works are given to you, and you need to complete the task. So here you can act smartly, you can try for some shorter methods, some better methods, some good methods which can save time. You can take help of a number of different tools, a number of different methods to complete the same time, which can be done before the given deadline. So this certainly will help to boost your brain, boost your body, because that will certainly release the pressure because you have completed your work before the time. See, the tension comes up in a student mostly because of the time. He cannot complete or she cannot complete that work before the given time, and that increases the pressure. So a student can work for the same in different method, and the student can complete the task before the given time, and certainly that will make him happy, a jolly mood, because now he do not have the tension, he do not have the pressure of completing the task he has already completed before the given time. So what happens that there is one more thing which helps to boost the mood, reduce the level of stress, and that thing is your diet, your food which you take. See, most students they opt for those fast food, the chips, the ice creams, the chocolates, whichever they get in the shop easily, which they can purchase, which they can eat. So if a person feel stressed, if a student is stressed out, he has or she has increased the level of stress, it is always recommended that that student should not consume fast food, no chips, no fast food, no junk foods, because those will again increase the level of stress. They will be acting. So bye for now, take care.